Okay, so I'm recording this after the fact because the video was chopped up into a bunch of pieces and it wasn't smooth, but eventually we will improve. Today, the only tickers that came up that had some data were SSNT and ALT. Ideally, they'd have more data for the number analyzed, above 50 or 20 even. But SSNT is the one that looks like it has the highest probability. It has a 62.5% chance of breaking out, whereas the ALT one only had 50. It's showing that it has a higher probability of moving up right at market open. So what we can do is enter the SSNT ticker into our chart and our orders. I'm using Questrade, which is honestly the worst for just putting your account number on everything, so mind all of the censorship. You can use the risk calculator. So if I'm risking $10, it's saying that I would need to buy 26 shares total. Because I'm doing 4 different bracket orders, I would enter it into the 4 separate bracket orders. 26 isn't evenly divisible by 4, so I just changed it to 6. But that's if you're risking $10 on the open up movement. Now for my trade, I'm going to risk $5 just to simulate some of the traders that might be risking not that much, or just to kind of show you how you should be entering the orders and going about the trade, as opposed to showing you crazy profits that I'm making. That's not the intention of the video. So I'm entering the stop loss and the separate limit orders for the brackets for taking profits. Now the price can fluctuate. As you can see, it's not quite 9:30 yet, so there is still time for the price to move and for the Stockminds website to update. So you might have to either edit the orders after having entered them, or you'll have to adjust them before you enter them right before market open. So here I'm noticing that the stop loss is set at 804, so it's really close to the current price. Mind you, the stock is gapping up 128% on the day, so the movements or sizes are much larger. So I'm kind of manually adjusting the stop loss to be a little bit lower. It's not really making much of a difference. And then I'm blocking out all of it because there's the account number just comes up everywhere with Questrade, and it's the most annoying thing. But I'm entering my orders now, and then I forgot that I was only going to risk $5 on the trade, so I adjust my orders so that they are for 3 instead of 6 on all 4 brackets, because if I'm risking 10 and it ends up being 6 per bracket, then I'm just risking half of it, so I can just use half the shares. You can click the little pencil icon next to the already accepted orders to then edit them. Here I'm showing you 5, you'd only need 12 shares, so you only need to put in 3 shares per bracket. So now we just wait until the market opens. This one wasn't it didn't have strong data for the trade, so you would want to risk a little bit more cautiously on the trade because it's not as definite. The more data that's used in any of the calculations that Stockminds provides, then the more accurate the prediction. So this one's not necessarily as accurate as it can be. But I believe it then stops out right at market open. It ends up not following the pattern in which it moves up right at market open. So here we go. Stopped out. So now I'm going to cut ahead a little bit, and it's going to show the orders for the open down movement. So here you can see it went down, and on the Stockminds website it shows that it was supposed to come down to roughly 654, I believe, but it came down all the way to 650, which is roughly within the zone. So what you can do with these open down movements is put in these conditions. So right now I'm entering the order so that when it hits the open up or open down price of entry, which is 768, then it will execute my order to buy all 12 shares. Put little price lines to help visualize what's happening or where the stock has to go in order for you to enter. So I'm saying 768 is where it's supposed to. Once it reaches that, that's the suggested entry price for the open down movement. Ideally, it's supposed to come down within range, which is 654, but it did come down a little bit further by a few cents. So I would consider that to be still following the pattern well. Now we just wait. It's starting to come up. Almost at the entry price. Ideally, it enters, and then we can set our brackets for the profits afterwards. You can enter it so that it's the same as in the pre-market where your brackets are already set up, but you can also do it this way where you purchase when you at the suggested entry price, and then you attach your brackets after the fact. There we go. We got execution. Now we can see SSNT, the profit price is 802, 836. So we can try to right click it, attach a bracket. Now here it's halted, so it's not going to allow you to attach an order. So you're going to have to wait for it to unhalt in order for you to add any orders. So you can go to just type in trade halts. NASDAQ Trader will tell you all of the current halts that exist. SSNT, you can see it halted at 943. Typically, it will unhalt after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So we might skip ahead here so that we're not just waiting for the whole 5 minutes. There we go. I think it skipped ahead. So we got our entry price at $7.73. So I'm just going to adjust that line to show what we bought at because it halted. So we got in a few cents off of what we wanted to get. You could have put in a limit order instead of a market order for the conditional order, but I just put in the market. It's a matter of preference. You could get more accurate entry if you do a limit, but then you might have to set your condition to be lower. So if it hits below the entry price, then it'll enter your order, and you'll get the stock before it reaches that price. So this is kind of ensuring that it reaches that price before you actually enter the trade. There, I'm risking 468 on the trade, close enough to 5. You would have to adjust the calculator so that or make sure that you're selecting open up or open down, because depending on which the way that the stock is moving, the stock price is moving, you are risking different amounts based on what the Stockminds trade suggests. It's normal for it to say your percent P&L to be significantly lower than what it actually is. So right now I'm essentially at break even, but it's saying that I'm down 52%. That's only because it's halted, so the stock price that it is listed as is not accurate. I'm just kind of visualizing the profit prices that it's saying to, Stockminds is saying to get out at. As you can see, they are all kind of bunched together really tightly. And after a halt, it's normal for the stock to gap in whichever direction that it halted, and it can even gap in the opposite direction. It's a hit or a miss. It's riskier if you're in a trade that is halted. So ideally you want to get out quickly. But here you can see if you hit the last profit price, you'll make 12% on the trade, which well outweighs the loss that you would have taken on the initial prediction that it would move up right at market open. So we lost on that initial trade, but because we are entering again with the open down, we'll end up making up for any of the losses that we ended up having. So here I'm just entering the limit orders to have them ready to take profits as soon as it unhalts. Because it is halted, entering limit orders or attaching brackets is riskier because it can halt again quickly. So if you enter the limit orders individually after it unhalts, then you're likely to get execution. Now we just wait. Okay. I added the limit or the level 2 to the right hand side. That's just so you can see right now there's no orders going through. At 9:43 is when it stopped. ALT also hit its profit points. That was another stock that came up on the Stockminds website. So I'm just checking to see what they're doing. But ALT was the only other one that had good data or some data, and it traded well. So now we unhalted, and I'm going to send, just taking my profits, sending limit orders or market orders to just sell batches of 3 because it gapped up way higher than what we had. Like it gapped up above our profit 1 and profit 2. So I got out, took my profit 1, profit 2, but they're way higher than what was labeled on the Stockminds website. So we made more money than what Stockminds had anticipated. So right now we're above profit 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can be completely out of the trade, but because we took our profit 1 and 2 higher, I'm remaining in the last couple groups of shares. Here you could set bracket orders so that you have a stop loss set as well. So that's what I did here. I set a stop loss at entry so that I'm break even if it does reverse. And then I'm taking another profit at 9, 10, and 10. So it hit that other one. I'm already making a much higher percent than what Stockminds has anticipated. I'm up 22% on the trade. The 9.10 that I put in was close to what it hit that pre-market peak, which was 9.13. So I put it in at 9.10 so that it could have reversed at that point. So I just put it in slightly below to ensure that if it did hit that point and reverse, I would have gotten out at a profit. I set the other one at up to 10 arbitrarily higher than what the current price was, just so that it doesn't execute right away. And then I changed it up to 11 because it halted. So it is continuing to move upwards, and I, again, don't want it to execute right away. It's more so there for the stop loss. So here you can see that based on all 3 of those profits that we took, we made 12%. 12% thus far. And it's halted again, so here I'm likely to get out as soon as possible, or at any sign of the stock changing direction and showing weakness. We already took a hefty profit, and it well outweighs any of the losses that we had from the first trade that we made. I believe this was a 10-minute halt, so it might cut ahead again so that you're not just sitting here waiting for the trade to start up again. Okay, it unhalted, and it's kind of not moving too much. We're up 27% on this last chunk of shares. Waiting to see any sign of coming back down. So looks like it's coming up. I raise my stop loss to ensure that it doesn't halt before I get out, because it is high now, so if it were to come down, it would halt before it reaches my stop loss, in which case it can come down below my stop loss after it unhalts, and I could end up losing money on that stop. So there we go, it broke above 10. So if I had left my limit there, then I would have taken out my shares, but it's not showing strength, it's coming back down, so I immediately will get out. I have already made a large percentage gain, so I'm just going to get out at whatever I can, canceling those orders, and then just selling 3 at market, which I get out at slightly higher than what my the third profit was.